Hello, everybody. Um, so, how is it going? How was this last week? When I hear something, did you practice? Did you have some feelings? Did you have some doubts? Did you have some revelations? Did you have some insights? Did you get pissed off? Whatever. So share something with me. I want to hear it. Yeah, Sitara.
I have been practicing almost every day. When you said, did you get pissed off? I thought, okay, I'm going to share this because in an encounter with my sister, I had a moment of anger and frustration, and it shocked me a lot straight after the incident. I was like, wow, all this meditation. I mean, this happens a lot. What I mean by that is that often, you meditate a lot and suddenly it takes 1 second.
You lose it. She got frozen. Sitara. Now you really lost it. We can't even see you. Whoops. She's gone. Ah, there she's back.
Sorry, my internet failed me again.
Yeah, we realized that.
I don't know where you lost me. Where did I get cut off?
When I said you lost it.
Yeah, I lost it, and and I was shocked and disappointed with myself, even though I was right not to lose it. But I was like, how could I, lose my temper and blah, blah, blah. So what helped me a lot was Tara Brach's words about, so I followed your suggestion. I looked at her videos.
You're reading the book?
She's fantastic. No, I'm listening to the YouTube videos about radical acceptance and a lot of her other stuff.
A podcast.
The podcast, yeah.
Nice.
And it was very helpful what she suggests about feeling the emotion, naming it,
Yes.
feeling it in the body, and then saying yes to it, not in the sense of allowing a behavior that you don't like, but forgiving yourself, being compassionate to yourself. And then it allows you to feel, it allows you to get more to the root of what happens, of your state. It's similar to what you were saying the other day about staying with the emotion, not being afraid of it, and going to the root of it, staying with it for a while, and going as deep as you can. And so, yeah, I've tried to practice that these days whenever the incident comes back. And it wasn't anything too big or, but to me it was like, wow, I thought I had left this stuff behind me, and now with the quarantine, I suppose certain things jump out again. So
yeah, we're a little bit in a pressure cooker.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share.
Nice.
So yeah, Tara Brach is amazing, guys. If you don't know her, I recommend.
She's nice, huh? Yeah, I like her too.
Yeah.
very down to earth in many ways.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Mm.
Yeah, that's a very important thing now, because it's so easy to um, take whatever we know, whatever we read, whatever I say, all these, like, they can easily become again concepts that we stored in our hard drive, and then we start um, believing that we have to behave accordingly, or we start using them as almost a measuring tool in everything we do, you know. And it's like, okay, I've done this, but let me see. No, it doesn't quite match this information that I have in this folder, you know. Well, I fucked up here, you know. Or then there's good reason for the mind to put yourself down or to judge, or, and it's so easy to do that. We all do it, you know. I mean, I heard Osho talking for 20 years, and I have so much information, and he was quite good, because he could say one thing and then the next day contradict himself and say the opposite. So he really tried his best to not give us anything to you know, get attached to, but still we do it. And so, and the spiritual ego is the most dangerous one, so we have to be very careful not to turn whatever we hear into another concept, that then it becomes an opportunity to divide ourselves in good and bad, right and wrong. I did it wrong, and this should not be, you know, like your thought that you had, like, oh man, after all these years of meditation, I'm still getting pissed off. Yes, absolutely. Nothing wrong with getting pissed off. I mean, what is getting pissed off really? It's like a fire energy that arises. No, I had it with my previous girlfriend quite a bit, and it would just go like, wow, like really like a fire. It would take like a second, and I could be just yelling at the top of my lungs, you know, and I was just like, wow, on fire. And but I was aware while it was happening, and actually I enjoyed it. You know, it felt so good to just give voice to that, you know. And I always trusted myself in a way that if that was arising, there was a good reason, you know. And then usually looking back, I also realized, yeah. And I didn't hurt anybody, you know. I was not like violent or anything, but I was like, more than making a statement, I was making, really making a statement. Actually, it was so strong, no? But it had its function, and there's a beauty in that energy too. Um, in India, they have this goddess that is called Kali, you know, and she's the goddess of. She depicted with a sword in her hands. I think, I don't know what it, maybe in the other, maybe she has a head that she just chopped off. I'm not sure, but she's the goddess of destruction. But through that destruction, she also creates the new, you know. So she cuts through what is not real and destroys it. So it's a creative destruction. And so that's how I feel those moments when they happens too, you know. Sometimes it's like, I feel like Kali energy coming up, and it's like, wow, so much anger. And it's a big storm, and it comes, and you watch it, and you can appreciate the energy if you don't judge it. You know, it's a nice, powerful Kali energy. There's nothing to feel bad about it. It's as spiritual as, being peaceful and blissful. There's no difference. It's the same energy, only expressed in different ways. Yeah, I'm not talking to you, Sitara, particularly. I'm just talking to all of us. This is something we all have, and it's very important to not create another ideology around meditation. Otherwise, we put in ourselves in another box. We put ourselves in another box. Yeah. So, yeah, thanks for saying that, because it brings up something that is very, very relevant to our practice. Anger is also beautiful. Everything is beautiful if you let it be. If you don't judge it, everything is just the way it is. It's fine. It's beautiful the way it is. Fear is beautiful. And everything has its own reason why it's there, not why it arises. It doesn't just arise for no reason at all. Yeah, so deep acceptance of whatever arises within our consciousness. That's what we do in practice, when we practice. And be very careful when the mind wants to divide, because that's its nature. It's like divide means basically, put everything in boxes, and this is right and this is wrong. The dualistic perception, the mind, what the mind does, it divides realities in many concepts. Right and wrongs are just two of them. There's so many, beautiful and ugly, love and hate, day and night, light and dark, dualism, no? And so then we use that dualism to basically not to accept ourselves. So we go in and we observe things, and then according to this dualistic mind, we start judging what we see, what we perceive about ourselves. And usually we come up with a good whip, and we find a way to whip ourselves for not being perfect, not being good enough, or not doing it right. And so very important to keep alert when the mind wants to come back from the back door. And especially when you see any self-judgment, where you know where that is coming from. Because your conscious self is not judging anything. There's no judgment in that awareness, in that consciousness that is aware of everything, that is observing. There's no judgment whatsoever. It's completely neutral. Actually, not even neutral, is very compassionate and very loving. It just loves you. It loves everything. It loves everything about you. Even your ego. I can assure you, I had that experience. It was very interesting. I was in my bathroom. I'll tell you a little story now. I was in my bathroom. I was ready to go to bed. I went to pee. And then I was sitting there, and I don't know how I got to this, but suddenly I was like, wait a second, there's two of us in here. I was like, wait, what do you mean two of us? And he was like, yeah, and I could see I could see my egoic self, Shastro as I know it, with all this identity attached to that. And then there was this other Shastra, which is not the Shastra that I know of so well, but it's more like my true self, my consciousness, the witnessing consciousness. And I could see them both. And what blew me away was to feel that the witnessing one, the consciousness one, had such a deep love for the other one. And I was, and in my mind, I was like, "Whoa, wait, that's my ego, there's something, there's something not right about that. And to feel that deep love that was coming from the other side, it just brought tears to my eyes and completely melted everything away. And it just, yeah, it was a beautiful experience because it made me realize any judgment comes from one side, from the egoic side. The other side, not only was neutral, it was love. She just loved that Shastro, the other Shastro. Just embrace it and love it and hold it like a baby. And I was like, oh, I was crying, just feeling that it just melted everything away. So that's why I said, no, it's not neutral. It's actually loving. It's love itself. Consciousness is love itself. So any self-judgment that arises, you can be 100% sure it's not you. It's your egoic mind, no doubts. The other you is just love. It's just awareness and love itself. Yep. That's why we feel more and more love arising as we go deeper inside of ourselves. As we move deeply in meditation, in the practice, start at a certain point, we start feeling a certain joy or a certain lovingness that arises. And the more time passes, the more you practice, the more this lovingness increases, and it's not a love directed to anything in particular or anybody. It's just love for everything. I call it lovingness because it's very it's a flavor that you feel and you share with everything, with nature, with people, with whatever is around you, whatever you get in touch with. And that's a beautiful feeling. And that is the true love that has no strings attached. That's the beauty of it. It's not like, oh, I love you because you love me, or I love you because you're my girlfriend, or I love you because you're my sister, or anything. I just love you. That's the feeling that comes out of. The other day, I was telling to another group, I was telling them, love is the fragrance of meditation. So it's like in meditation, what do? We go in, right? And we get in touch with ourselves and we accept ourselves, right? Through observing and not judging, but actually bring compassion to whatever we witness. That is the first act of love, actually, isn't it? That is love already. It's a deep act of love towards yourself to say, okay, I take this time to really observe and accept anything that I see and sit with myself. Take this time, to be with myself. That's an act of love already. And then the more we deeper we go, the more we move away from the judging egoic mind and we rest. Because when there is no mind, there is just awareness. There's just the witnessing consciousness, right? When there is a thought, there is the mind. When the thought stops between two thoughts, what is there? There's just a witnessing consciousness, a space of awareness, a presence. That is love also. So the more we rest into that, the more we nourish ourselves with that love. It starts coming up. You feel it more and more. It starts bubbling up. And that's why I like to see it like a tree. The meditation gives us deep roots in ourselves. When we take the time and we have the willingness and the courage to go deep inside into our aloneness, into the silence, into the space, then out of that deep roots, the tree grows by itself. And then it makes these beautiful flowers, and their fragrance is love, right? But it's not something that we can do. Be careful not to start again to create a concept. Oh, now I have to be loving. No, no, no. You don't have to be anything. Lovingness arises as a consequence of you going deep inside. It's not something we can do. Much like when we were talking about earth and sky, remember, grounding and grace. And I told you, you can just work on the grounding part. Grace happens by itself. Don't worry too much about it. So it's the same. We can just go deep into ourselves. Those are the roots. We can give water around the little plant, little tree while it's growing. We can fertilize it a little bit with our practice. And the rest happens by itself. It just grows. But it's not our doing. We cannot do love. Love is it's a fragrance that comes by itself. So, but nice to recognize it when you start feeling it, don't be surprised. But above all, don't make a concept out of it. If you get pissed off, don't go like, I shouldn't be angry. I'm love. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. You're cutting yourself in pieces right there, You're not whole in that moment. You're like chop yourself in half. Love and hate divided. No, it's the same energy. Love becomes hate and hate becomes love. They don't exist at the same time because it's the same energy. But don't divide it. Don't think one is right and one is wrong, whatever you do. Trust yourself. Whatever arises, there is a reason for that. Yeah. Somebody else was wanting to say something, I think. Mickey, was that you? Wait. Or you don't have anything anymore?
Yeah, because you actually solved what I wanted to express. I also had an experience. Everything went well for a few days, and then life happened. In fact, I'm without money because of this COVID situation.
Uh-huh.
The transfer hadn't been made, so into the bank account. So immediately I was so stressed and fearful and everything. And it's like all the love that you spoke about. Generally, since childhood, I'm a person who has so much love in me, and I share it, and I receive so much love. I'm very grateful for that, and the love you spoke about. That other love, the witnessing part. But then it was so hard for me this time to not accept the fear, but I was constantly divided in my mind. It's like it was like it still is like a battle within me.
Yeah.
It's like mentally, I know what to do, and I did meditate. I even chanted the Gayatri mantra, which brought up so much emotion. I cried and cried. I couldn't sing. And I don't know where that came from. But anyway, it's just, I'm still in that situation. But listening to you, I feel more peaceful. And yeah. I think I actually did put things in boxes. That's
yeah. But you're aware of all this, no? You just described it, and so that's all you can do, really. Bringing awareness to what is happening, what we're feeling, and how we're reacting, and we just observe. There's no need to judge it or divide it, as you said, or put it in boxes.
Yeah. And there are moments, you know, where I'm calm and everything, and then my mind starts as you know, talk. There are conversations.
Yeah.
Although mentally or consciously, I say, "Shut up! I don't want to hear that." And yeah, but this is a test, in a way, or
Yeah, and
not a test, an experience.
an experience, yeah. And that might never get better or change, you know. I mean, in myself, I see, actually you become, through practice, you become a more and more sensitive. So you feel more and more when there is a disturbance. You feel that disturbance so much more,
Yes.
which is interesting. And that disturbance has always happened, but now it's amplified. So I see when I am in my center, it's like a lake.
Yes.
That is completely quiet. You know, there's no wind, no waves, nor even ripples on the surface. It's just like a mirror-like surface of the water that reflects everything, reflects the trees above and the clouds and the sun. Yeah? And then as soon as a thought comes in, I immediately feel the ripples, you know, it's like, and a disturbance. Well, I call it disturbance. It feels like a disturbance.
In your heart.
In the heart, yeah.
Mm.
And it's like if it was an anxiety, it's almost like every thought becomes I perceive it as an anxiety,
Yes.
which it is in a way, because it creates a tension because it takes you away from the present moment. So it is a tension.
Yeah.
And I perceive it as such. But even, I mean, you know, a few years ago, it was like, okay, certain thought would create that, would trigger that. But now everything does, every thought. You know, it doesn't have to be a big negative or a big thing or something like a big worry. You know, it could be like, oh, I forgot to brush my teeth. Or I don't know, something really silly even. Or just the smallest ripple, I feel it as a disturbance. And it took me a while to realize that, to understand what is happening. I mean, I'm still understanding it daily, bringing more and more understanding in what this body mind is doing. But yeah, so there is an increased sensitivity as we move forward, which makes you feel like you could read it as like, my God, I'm always disturbed, you know. But it's not really like that. It's more like, yes, there is disturbance, but you are aware of it, and it's always been there, but you didn't notice it. You know, the ripples were there before, many more actually. There were many more ripples, but I was not aware of them. And now there's less ripples, so I really noticed them, because suddenly it's like, okay, there's a lot of peace, a lot of silence, and then suddenly, zzz, you know. But if it's always noise, background noise, you don't notice, you know. It becomes your status quo. It's like, okay, well, you don't notice the ripples because they're always there. But once it's really quiet, and then the ripples and the waves come, or a big splash because somebody threw a rock, then you really notice it, right? So yeah, in that sense, we really need to be compassionate towards ourselves. It's not, again, it's not like, oh my God, after all these years of meditation, I'm still being so disturbed. It's fine, and it might never change. It might even become more obvious in time, even more.
But luckily we have music. I find when I play, yesterday I played a lot. And while I'm playing, nothing exists.
Yes.
It's just
Yeah.
me and sounds and my flute, which is really an extension. I feel it as an extension of me. So
Yes.
less with the piano because it's external, but the flute is so intimate. And after that, I felt so much better.
Exactly. And that's the power of mindfulness in action, you know. Now for you it's with music, but it can be with anything we do, you know. It can be washing the dishes. Again, I can be very disturbed, but I can bring my whole attention to washing the dishes, and suddenly this disturbance disappears. The mind's become quiet because I'm present with the warmth water that comes out, the sound of the water, the feeling in my hands, the soap. And I'm really enjoying to clean this dish really well, you know, and I take care of it. And it becomes my prayer in that moment, you know. I put all my attention there, and that disturbance disappears, you know. So it can be playing music, it can be washing dishes or washing the floor.
Creative art, I find also when I'm painting, then
Sure, any creative act.
yeah.
Any creative, but what is a creative act? That again, let's not make a concept.
Yeah.
Creativity doesn't mean music and art only. Creativity means anything that comes out of a space of presence that is not finalized to a goal is creativity.
Yes.
So if I wash the dishes and I have a goal like to finish within 5 minutes because I have to go away, it's okay. Practically, I understand. But I will never be completely there because I'm already 5 minutes ahead, right? There's a goal. The goal is to finish as soon as possible. I cannot be present with washing the dishes.
Yeah.
But if I have no rush, or even if I have to go, I say, okay, look, it will take 1 minute more, but I really want to be present and enjoy what I'm doing. Then it becomes a creative act. So that's also very important and very important to understand, because we have this idea, again, concept that creativity is only,
No artist.
you know, you need to be a sculptor to be creative, or you need to be a painter or a musician. No, no. Those things, okay, they happen to be something for you. That gives you that space. But anything that is done with a sense of presence and without a goal is creativity, becomes creativity. And that creativity takes you in a space of no mind. It supports, it removes all these ripples and waves that the mind creates, and it allows you to just be present in it and in this quiet, silent, witnessing place. That's why mindfulness in action is very important, because we have at least 16, 18 hours a day that we are doing things. So we want to find that quiet space from where we can move from. Not only when we sit and we close our eyes, of course, that's beautiful too, but there is much more to life than just that hour or half hour that I'm sitting, right? And so that helps me a lot to realize that. And it helps with all the disturbance that keeps coming and going. Yeah. And sometimes when it's overwhelming, you know, like something like survival, like, God, I don't have money. Where is the next check coming from? Or, you know, whatever. Then it's really helpful to just immerse yourself in something that you can just be with that thing, present with what you do, and you let go of your mind and all your worries, and you rest in that sense of presence for a little bit. It's like, what a relief. Yeah. Yeah, good sharing. Thank you. Good
Thank
points. Yeah. Yeah. Ashi?
It's super interesting, all of that, because of course we're always present, but then many times we're also not present. even though we're present. And finding that beautiful balance, like what you were saying with Sitara about, sure, you know, the flowering of whatever expression it happens to be in the moment, that's natural, and finding that point, that line between suppression and being carried away by, maybe it's a fire energy, or maybe it's whatever type of expression. And with the conversation with Mickey about creativity, it's very interesting, that quality of presence that is so present that the identity fades into the background. And so when we release that anchor of knowing ourselves through the recognition patterns, or the sensory patterns that we associate with who we are. It's like those moments in Aikido or in life, really, when you do something that flows from a centered place of full alignment and full presence, then it's like, wow, that totally worked, but I didn't do that. So it must not have been really me doing it. But that was it, because I was out of the way and I was totally present. We're having this discussion the other day in regards to those moments of flow and connection in tango. It's basically the same thing, where two people converge in a moment of integrated presence and resonance, and then it's not two people, it's one being doing one thing, and beautiful moments to participate in.
Yeah, the other day we used the word yoga, remember, as in its meaning of union. So it's true, awareness is always there. We are always present in a way. That's true what you said. But there are moments where we are in yoga with ourselves. We're in union. So our consciousness, awareness, it's in a state of unified state with itself, or that awareness is clouded by a lot of thoughts, for example, or emotions, the waves and the ripples on the surface. Of course, the awareness is still underneath. It's always there. But it's when for example, two thoughts, when one thought stops before another one starts, what is in that space is awareness, is a natural state. It's always there. Yeah. And it's not something we need to do. It's the very nature of consciousness to be aware. But it can be just sitting there in this inner space that perceives everything, or it can, and as a mirror, reflecting reality, or it can be completely clouded by all kind of stuff that fills up that space, and then it doesn't reflect anymore because there are so many ripples. But yes, that awareness, it is always there. So in that sense, we're always present.
Kind of like gravity. We're not changing the number value on a scale. Gravity is always affecting us the same way, but we can have a completely different experience of relating to it as we sink. And it feels like we're getting heavier and heavier and heavier.
Exactly. Yeah, you can stand on the scale and you can, meditate sitting on a scale, and you look at your weight before, and then after a while you just sink, and you start feeling so heavy. And then you look, no, it's still the same weight. Exactly, no? So gravity is always there, but you can really merge into it or not, or be completely suspended in your mind. Yeah, just the same. Yeah. Yeah, tango is a nice practice too, to find that union, to experience that union, that dissolution of the individuality that merges into two. That's a nice feeling. Yeah, thanks for the sharing, Ash. Yeah. Okay. And how about we sit a little bit? Shall we? Let's find a comfortable sitting position. I will use this little bell that you might know. This bell is our Zen stick. You know what a Zen stick is? You do? Yeah. Simone doesn't know. When you go in the Zen monasteries, when they practice, they sit all together, and then there is the habit, or whatever you want to call it, the teacher, with his socks on, yeah, no shoes. So he walks around very quietly. You don't hear him moving. You don't hear him coming. And he has the stick, a bamboo stick in his hand. And so all the monks are sitting there, with their eyes closed, and he goes around. And then once in a while, when he sees that somebody's getting lost in thoughts, he can see it from the outside. He just goes there very quiet, and he goes like, snack, and he just hit him on his head with a stick, and of course the guy goes like, oh my God, oh yeah, I was completely lost in thoughts, Or he might go like, tung, and this guy like nothing happens, because he's already present, so no reaction whatsoever. So the hit is always taken as a gift from the monks, like a gift from the teacher, like, oh, thank you for showing me where I was, thank you for showing me that I was completely lost, or thank you for showing me that I was present, whatever it is. So this little Tibetan bell, I'll play once in a while we sit. It's our Zen stick, because I cannot be there with you to give a hit on your head. So that is our little stick. And when we hear it, we just notice, where is our attention? Yeah, am I in the present, or I was drifting away? And if you were drifting away, again, do not conceptualize it, for God's sake. Don't feel bad about it. Don't start going like, oh no, man, I was thinking again. Yes, you will think again and again and again. Don't worry. Just come back to the present, that's all. It's not worth a single judgment about that. Okay? So, when you're ready, close your eyes. Move your attention inward. I'll start by feeling the body from the inside. How does it feel? See if there is any little tension that you can release. Feeling the weight of the body on the cushion or on the floor. And see if you can let yourself fall a little bit more into the cushion. Sinking as you relax. Slowly relaxing into the present moment. Allowing all the ripples and waves to become more quiet. As we slowly move towards the center, everything becomes more quiet. Little by little. Letting the mud deposit itself at the bottom of the bucket of water. Feeling the earth, feeling the pull of the earth. As you slowly become like a mountain, sitting mountain. And the tip of the mountain is the top of your head. If it's a really tall mountain, there might even be snow there. And feel like there is a thread hanging from the sky from which you're attached to the top of your head. Almost like a little tug upwards. Very, very, very subtle pull. It helps you stay with your back straight, aligning your neck without any effort. Sky energy is very subtle compared to earth energy. It's still there. And we sit between sky and earth, in balance between these two energies. As I relax all the muscles, everything falls downwards. My shoulders, my diaphragm, my belly. Letting everything relax so that it's pulled by the earth. And yet I have a little tug, little support pulling up from the top of the head. So I don't actually fall completely. I have been sustained from both sides. On the earth, I let go into it. I lean on it and I sink into it. It supports me. and the sky energy, I feel uplifted, a little pull upward. Earth is solid. Earth is matter. Earth is body. The sky is air. It's formless. It's very subtle. It's spirit. We are both. We are the formless in a form. Sitting, connecting these two energies. When I remain aware and present with these two energies, between the two energies, I start moving in the vertical line. I'm always in the vertical line of this present moment. I'm unified with these two forces when I am in the vertical line. I'm aware of them. I perceive them. I let them happen. I am the silent space in the middle. The quiet lake with no ripples. I notice where my attention is. And if there were some ripples happening, some thoughts, some emotions, some experiences coming and going, that's beautiful. We just notice that. And as we notice it, the ripple starts disappearing by themselves. And the surface of the lake is still again after a while. It's again like a mirror. Ripples will come and go all the time. It's okay. The lake is always there. Mhm. The water is always there. It might reflect my presence or not, but it's still there. Nothing is lost. Even when we drift away, even when we're lost in thought, nothing is lost. They're just illusions like smoke. They will dissolve again like clouds. Like ripples on the surface of the water. It's still water. Even the ripples are water. Observing anything that arises with a very loving attitude. Nothing is wrong. Everything is just right the way it is, just the way it's happening, the way it's experienced. Observe it with a compassionate, loving attitude. Because it's all happening in consciousness. Once in a while, go back to feeling the earth energy. Just checking if your body is relaxed, if it can be more relaxed, if some little tension gathered in the meanwhile. Just release it, give it to the earth. Noticing where is your attention. if you witness any kind of judgment arising, just notice that. Don't buy into it. You know where it's coming from. You just let it go. Bring compassion even to that judgment. And release it. Let it dissolve in your compassion. Let it dissolve into your lovingness. Slowly coming back when you're ready to open your eyes. Maintaining a little bit of attention always on the center, on the inside. Even when we start looking outwards. You want to share something about this sitting?
I'd like to share something.
Yeah.
Yes. From the beginning, from this series of the meditations,
Yeah.
My body uses it to release some tension, and then it goes like this sometimes. And now the whole sitting, my body was just moving, and it was very hard for me not to judge it and to let it be. And sometimes I thought, no, I have to be still, and then I think I made my body tense, but if I really went into the meditation with breathing, it just happened again. And it's actually very strange to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So the exploration. Go ahead.
Felt like my body was calibrating.
Calibrating?
Yeah, is that a word?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So the exploration is, can you just let that be without any judgment whatsoever?
Yeah.
Or you can, as you're already doing, you can observe the judgment as it arises. It's like, okay, well, you're not really needed, you judgment, you're not needed here in this moment. You're not doing anything. You're not bringing anything new. So let just be, and just, if you tune into that movement, what does it feel like? Well, actually, you already defined it. You said it's like calibrating. It has that kind of a feeling to it, no? That kind of quality. Beautiful. So your whole system is recalibrating. Just let it happen. Beautiful. And then, maybe it will stop by itself at a certain point when the calibration is over. But you don't know when it's going to be, maybe in one day, maybe in 1 year, it doesn't matter. I think as long as you don't judge it, then you can even enjoy it. Just let it be. And if it's at a certain point, it comes like a little disturbing, and then not because you're judging it, but because you can also try to bring your attention to your belly center, like 2 inches below your navel. Well, how many centimeters is 2 inches? Maybe
5.
5, thank you. So about that, about 5 inches, 5 centimeters below the navel inside. There is a spot there, center point. You can also, because I used to have things like that too. Even sometime when I would tune into that center, I would get like big jerks in my body, And is, for me, they were like energy that would release, just energy would move, and somewhere there were little holding blocks in the body. So it would not just flow freely, but it would create a jerk in my body. That's what it felt like. But then slowly, they happen less and less. And it also, I noticed that if I stay with my full attention there in that center place in the belly, and just feel the energy releasing, but staying, not moving away from that point, it would not happen as much. But again, that's my experience. You have to explore for yourself what, maybe it's just, and it's beautiful to just let the movement happen, unless at a certain point it gets like disturbing to you, then you can explore different things, see what happens. I like the other word, the recalibrating. That's a nice image, nice concept. Yeah. Nice, Simone. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Yes, Maria. Well done. Oh, you should have the mic already, yeah.
Regarding the movement, I'm also, now that I'm meditating more and more regularly, I also move a lot. When I enter, I feel, I don't know if I'm entering more in meditation, I start to move a lot like small, like
spiraling.
spirals. And then I feel the spirals going up, like this. But I can feel that I move, but very, very gentle.
Yeah.
In a way I like, I let it. The only thing is sometimes I go forward, like kind of falling asleep.
Yes.
And when I'm here, there is a point that there is like, and
you
then I come back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strange.
That's normal. No, it's normal.
No, it's not.
It's normal. Sometimes just the head falls also. But yeah, it's beautiful. You just enjoy the spiraling. It's just energy moving. We're exploring new spaces within ourselves. We're giving more space also to energy to move. In a way, we're cleansing, or we're calibrating, like Simone said. Things are getting released. There is more, once the tension gets released, there's more space for energy to move. So you might perceive movements. It's all good. Many things might happen. Many experiences might happen when we sit. And also, nothing might happen. So either way, it's okay. If there are experiences happening, you just witness them. Don't try to control them. Just let them be. And don't make a big thing about it. Don't think like they're like, don't make them into spiritual experiences, because that's, again, the ego. It's a spiritual ego that tries to make something special about it. In reality, those experiences need to happen until they stop, and then there is silence and stillness, and there's nothing happening. In that space where nothing is happening, our awareness rests there, our consciousness is there. That's the home of our awareness. And that's where the ego disappears, no? For those moments when there's complete silence. When there are experiences coming and going, it's easy for the ego to identify with it, you know, and then feeling either good about it or bad about it, you know. Make sure you don't use them, don't let the ego use those experiences or sensations as like, oh, something special, and just let them be for what they are. They're not neither special, not special. They're like not good and not bad. That's what they are. And then they will stop again. It's okay. Yeah, the ego is very tricky. It can turn anything into food for itself. So it's important to be aware of that too as we move deeper into our practice. And in the same way, if there's nothing happening, be very careful that the ego doesn't come in and go like, man, nothing is happening, you know? The other girl, she has spirals going on and I have nothing, you know? Or that guy, he has some blue light, you know? I never saw blue light. I'm not meditating deep enough, you know? Nothing is happening to me. That's again the same ego, huh? So either something is happening or nothing is happening makes no difference at all. The practice of meditation is to rest into the experiencer. It's not about experiences. The experiences are still ripples. Doesn't matter how beautiful they are, they're still ripples. It's okay. Let them be. But if nothing happens, then enjoy that stillness. Now, don't label it as something is bad about it, for God's sake. You're ruining everything, you know. Rejoice in that nothingness. That's exactly where you want to be. Yeah. So it's all good as long as we don't get identified with it. As long as we don't start labeling it and judging it in any way. Remember that we tune into the observer. That's our home. Yeah, and then within this the observer is like the container. Yeah, this big space, this big conscious space inside. Everything arises, everything is experienced. You know, lights, ripples, thoughts, emotions, feelings, judgment. Anything happens in the space. They come and they go. The space is always there. That's where we want to bring our attention back again and again, to that space where nothing happens, to that silence. Yeah, to that empty space. But we also observe anything that arises. You know, we absolutely do not want to prevent that. But we observe it and we don't get identified with it. And remembering that what really matters is coming back to that silent space. Okay. Hashiman.
Moments of stillness in my mind. And then it was fun to watch the tendency for little thoughts to creep in. Kind of like little bits of fluff getting blown in to a space by a passing wind.
I like that. Like those fluffy flowers.
Exactly, like the fluffy flowers.
Yes, so nice.
It's like, ah, wow, okay, clear sky, and then there comes a fluffy flower. It just got blown in by a breeze.
Nice image.
And frequently, the ones that would get in under the radar were words or images kind of getting tossed up like the cow has how many stomachs? 4 or 7 stomachs or something. And it's just mishmashing, repetition, that mechanical part of the mind that likes to just grind things over and over. And it's like you heard it 5 times through the last week, and then, oh, there it is again. Okay, it popped up. It's just repetition.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I've seen this one already. Only like 12 times.
yeah. Here it comes again.
But that's a good image also, not like the mind keeps chewing on it like a cow, you know. It's the same grass, you know. How much are you going to chew it? But actually they chew it, they swallow it, and then they regurgitate it and chew it again. That's exactly like that. The mind is the same. That's a very good image. We chew a thought and then we let it go. And then after a while, we regurgitate it and chew it again over and over and over. So I love that image. Yeah, I'm gonna use that if you allow me.
All yours.
Thank you. I'm gonna tell people my mind is a cow. It's not a monkey anymore. My mind is a cow. I like that better. Lovely. Very nice. Yeah, you wonder, no? Why chewing it again? You know, it's liquefied for God's sake. And yet we go over and over and over. Yeah. Sometime in the night I wake up and I notice that, you know, and there's a thought that usually is connected to a memory of, obviously, something maybe I watched, maybe even about the movie that I saw before going to bed, if I watch something, or there is something happening in the morning that is important for me, and then I start imagining how it's going to happen. And then I go, okay, now rest, Shastro, just rest, feel your breath, feel your belly. Now you can let go into the mattress, you know. And then, you know, a few moments later, I go like the same thought is like sneaking in. You're saying, and it starts getting chewed again. I was like, and then I look at it again. It's like, okay, just rest, just sink in your mattress, you know, feel your belly, feel your breath. And if I'm not, and sometimes I'm very awake when I wake up. It's like, okay, it's 3 a.m, but I feel like it should be already 8 o'clock in the morning because I'm like, it's not always easy to fall back asleep. And then I watch the thought and I'm just like in awe sometimes how many times the same thought needs to come up and get chewed. And it's like, you know, you can't liquefy it more than that. That thought, I chewed it like already 5 times. So it becomes a smoothie eventually, and I drink it instead of chewing it. And then hopefully it's gone for good. But it has to turn into a completely liquefied smoothie first. Yeah, beautiful. No, we observe it all. As long as we don't get upset about it, you know, that we know, you know who is getting upset. And you can just have a good laugh, you know. We can just say, "Oh my God, I saw this thought already 6 times." It's like, are you kidding me? Have a good laugh about it. It's the best way to kill the ego is a good laugh. Don't beat yourself up, whatever you do. Have a good laugh. That's the best attitude. Yeah, meditation is not a serious affair, eh? No. It's a love affair, it's a play, it's a love affair with yourself. You be loving with yourself, be playful with yourself. Yeah. Be gentle and playful with yourself.